Two policemen and two protesters are dead after clashes in Pakistan's eastern city of Lahore. The violence erupted during a march by thousands of Islamists calling for the release of the leader of their outlawed party. He was arrested last year during demonstrations against France, where caricatures of the Prophet Mohammed were published.
Thousands of religious hardliners gather in Lahore to march on the capital, Islamabad. But their route is barricaded by security forces, and tensions quickly rise. Their fury stems from the jailing of Saad Rizvi, leader of a banned Islamist party. He was arrested on terrorism charges during protests against France. The party accuses France of blasphemy for allowing caricatures of the Prophet Mohammed to be published. Protesters lay out their agenda.
Our demand of the government is that it should expel the French ambassador and free our leader Saad Rizvi immediately, and also fulfill our leader's demands as soon as possible.
France has warned its citizens to leave Pakistan. The outlawed Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan Party, or TLP Party, has a history of organizing such rallies to put pressure on the government. It comes as Pakistan's Prime Minister faces calls to resign over food and gas price hikes. The government has announced it will hold a vote on expelling the French ambassador, but that's just one of the protesters' demands.
And for more on this, I'm joined now by Shamil Shams from DW Asia. Shamil, thanks for joining us. The police stopped protesters from leaving Lahore, but they vowed to continue their march all the way to Islamabad. So is there a danger of even more bloodshed?
There is always a risk of more bloodshed, and a lot of bloodshed when these kind of protests erupt in Pakistan, because the Islamist parties usually do not budge from their demands until there is a military intervention, because the civilian governments, to be honest, do not hold much power over these groups. So there has to be some kind of a situation where the army generals think that they need to rein in these Islamists, because historically they have had an upper hand on these groups and also close to these groups. So that is one thing. The problem here is that this issue is not just about the demand to release the detained leader of the TLP or to expel the French ambassador or take actions against the French government. It is also that some experts in some groups say that there is a rift between the civilian government and the military wants to create more pressure on Imran Khan's government through these groups, because historically we have seen that the military has used these groups against civilian governments, as it did against former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif.
And can you tell us a little bit more to help us understand in part that relationship between the military and these Islamist parties, about the TLP party and its leader? What are they all about?
Well, it is primarily an anti-blasphemy party. It believes in the finality of Prophet Mohammed, Islam's prophet, and they believe that any kind of legislation, any kind of, for instance, legislative act or a social act against Islam should be condemned. They take to the streets. They have the street power. It was founded by Saad Rizvi's father, Khadim Hussain Rizvi, a few years ago, and Khadim Rizvi died in 2000, I think, a couple of years ago. So this is primarily an anti-blasphemy party, but it is a pressure group on civilian governments. It's kind of popular party now. It's getting more popular.
And just how much support, and quickly, if you don't mind, does the TLP party actually have in Pakistan?
It is a banned outfit in Pakistan. Ironically, it contests elections also at the same time. So in the 2018 elections, which were won by Prime Minister Imran Khan, this TLP party was the third largest party in terms of votes in the Punjab province. So after Imran Khan's party and former Prime Minister Sharif's party. So you can imagine it's a banned outfit, but it has got the support from the power corridors in Pakistan. Somehow this party emerges and they take to the streets whenever some groups in the establishment, the military establishment or some other powers, they want some kind of turmoil and chaos. So this is what it is happening at the moment.
Okay, Shamil Sham from DW Asia. Thanks for that.
Thanks.